Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today a little video from a black girl and mixed girls with a black side. Because I think as a black girl and mixed girls, we all share the same struggles when it comes to finding confidence in our blackness, especially when we are surrounded by people who don't like us. But today I will give you keys to unlock this confidence and also to command your respect. At first, I will tell my story. To begin with my story, during primary school, I was in private school with no diversity at all, mostly white people. Later, in middle school, I went to public school where there was a bit more diversity. Then in high school, I got into a prestigious school and again there was a little diversity and something in university. More you get into prestigious area, less there diversity. So I know how hard it is to be in an environment where people don't look like you. As a black woman, you carry stereotypes created and repeated by social media, films, TV shows, and I noticed that in both my middle school and high school, even if there is diversity, black women are not excluded from microaggression. So the first lesson is don't connect your blackness only to suffering. Don't do that. I learned during my school years as a black girl is that you need to raise the sentence black women are the most hated on the planet, especially if you're a dark-skinned girl, because it's wrong. As a black girl, you need to understand that everybody suffers in this world and you should not associate your blackness only with suffering, okay? Don't associate your blackness to suffering, okay? That's just a colonial idea meant to destroy the self-esteem of black people, because when people talk about black history, it's always slavery, segregation, Jim Crow laws, and everything about slavery or segregation. And yes, that's a part of no story because slavery impact Caribbean, African American, but before to be slave to have before we have history, we have a great kingdom. So don't don't reduce the history of black people by slavery or segregation or colonization. And I want to debunk this stereotype. At first, the first slaves were white and came from Eastern Europe. It's for that reason we call Eastern Europe, people from Eastern Europe, Slavic, which come from slave, because they were the first slave. Western European take Eastern European to sell them to Arabian, because the first people to start slavery in Africa were Arabian people, and after Western people. But in their society, there were already slavery. Okay. As Afro-European, I studied the history of Western society and I learned that those society were based on hierarchy, and the majority were enslaved or oppressed, and only the minority were owners. It was a racist society based on social status. Even today, the European society is racist based on social status. More you are rich, more you are respect. Less you are rich, less you are treated. You're treated like a slave. You're treated like an animal. Look at the homeless. So, if you want a video about white slave, let me know in the comments. I will recommend you a very interesting book, The White Slavery by Alexander Skerda. Also, you must know that not all white people in America were on the same pedestal. Irish Italians also suffered discrimination and lived through a kind of segregation less violent than what black people endure, but still real. In Asia, Chinese and Koreans suffered under Japanese colonization, and there are so many examples. Black people were not the only community to face violence, slavery, and other terrible things. The second lesson is microaggressions are universal. Black women are not the only women who experience microaggression. For example, when I was in high school during my second year, well, there was this girl. She was beautiful and had long blonde hair. One day, another girl with blonde hair also complimented her hair color, but it wasn't really a compliment. She said, "Your hair is beautiful. Your blonde is not like a beach blonde, a war blonde. You understand? Really, your blonde doesn't look cheap." This show all blonde girls also face stereotypes, being dumb, superficial, fake, plastic, surgery, and you know. And the most ironic part is that this microaggression came from another blonde girl. The reaction of the first girl was just to say thank you because even she acknowledged that the stereotype existed, she accepted that she was different, superior to other blondes, and have so many similar experience for each community. Okay, so all type of women and men experience microaggressions. So black girl, you're not the only one to face them. The third lesson is stop saying acting white. I hate this sentence. You know what I mean when I said that. Basically, it means be far from the stereotype about black girl, but don't follow the stereotype. There are many stereotypes about black girl being loud, angry, ratchet. You take them and throw them in the trash. You can be a black girl and speak with a good level and language. You can be a black girl and love anime or cartoons. You can be a black girl and listen to music. You can be a black girl and love reading. You can be introvert, shy, nerdy. That doesn't take away your blackness. For example, me, I am a black girl. I love Afrobeat, but also I read manga, watch anime. I do climbing. I don't use the N word because I think N word have a strong story and nobody will. And I think it's not necessarily matter to give a positive sense to the N word. And I like reading. And guess what? None of this takes away my blackness. On the contrary, it reinforces it because I know my history. My ancestors built great kingdoms like Kemet, Kush, the Mali Empire, the Congo Kingdom. Because before slavery, slave has history, has identity. We were not born slaves; we were identity. We were taken to Africa. And before slavery, people have identity, have history. So it doesn't mean it's end. It's for that reason the majority of revolution from slave is not slave people who are born in slave who were born as a slave, but people which were not born as a slave. Okay, because they knew their value, they knew their history didn't start with slavery. Okay. So this empire were powerful, admired, and influenced the world. If you read testimony from Arab or Greek intellectuals like Plato, Herodotus, and also Ibn Battuta, Ibn Khaldun, you will see how they described this kingdom as beautiful and strong. So me, as a descendant of this nation, I need to do better than my ancestor. It's the role of descendants to improve on the work of their predecessor. People will say you're acting white just because you don't act like the stereotype, are ignorant and colonized. They are insecure in their blackness, and when they see another black person being different, it creates an inferiority complex in them. Because then they can say, no, my majority is because of no blackness. I don't have this job because I am black. I don't success in school because I'm black. No, it's wrong. The fault is not on your blackness. The fault is you. So don't care about that, okay? Because they want it the easy way to always accuse your blackness, and to not introspect yourself, okay? Your blackness can be an obstacle sometimes, but I think it's not an obstacle if you don't have a job because you are black, because you will work with a racist environment. So it's not really add value to have a job. This job, it's I think blackness is to add value because it's how to say that, it's allow you to not work with racist. Okay. So the fourth lesson I learned in high school, even in middle school before, avoid by communalism. Thirdly, let's talk about bad communalism. As Black people in Western society, sometimes we don't build community for the right reason. Instead of supporting growth, we support mediocrity. Look at the hood. Boys in the hood stick together because they all live in mediocrity. But when one of them succeeds in rap or sport, the other starts saying he forgot the hood. But the reality is, when someone succeeds, the first thing he does is leave the hood for a safer, less violent place. If he stays, jealousy often ends in his death. A friend kills him out of envy, and it's the same with girls. Communalism can be a good thing. Look at Chinese or Jewish communities. They practice communalism, but they use it to enrich their people, to build wealth, to protect each other. That's how it should be. As a Black girl, don't fall into bad communalism. Yes, make a friend in other community, not necessarily your best friend, okay, but not necessarily best friends with who you share all your insecurity, but friends to learn from. Because I think you should learn, Black community should learn about other community, okay, because we are really late, okay, and we need to be at time, okay, because we are the poorest community in the world, so we need to wake up and to work on ourselves to be a powerful community, and nobody disrespect us anymore. So because at the end of the day, your friends are not Black and they can't truly understand your struggle, like races, like races or every struggle which impact Black community. That's why we need to learn when to keep quiet. Too often, especially on TikTok, I see Black women exposing their insecurity without shame. And what happens? Other communities use that to disrespect us. For example, white boys making videos saying I love Black girls. They don't say it out of love, they say it for clout because they know some Black women think they are undesirable and they play with that for followers. So yes, build networks with other community, but be smart. At the end of the day, people will always put their own community first. It's natural. Build a strong, useful network, one that will serve you in the future. Fifth, 5 lesson: don't seek love, command respect. Don't search for love, command respect. As a Black girl, you need to understand that nobody on this earth loves weakness. People respect strength and charisma. Look at Ibrahim Traoré, the leader of Burkina Faso. Do you think he searched for love from Western company? No, he commanded respect and expelled French troops and foreign companies. They were exploiting his country's resources. At first, companies found this poor country won't survive without us, but he proved the opposite. No, those same companies want to return and under his conditions. That's respect. In school, you have to do the same. Command respect for your action. For me, I commanded respect by embracing my beauty standard, my dark skin, my Afro hair, my African feature. I never wore makeup to change my face, my feature, my African feature. I always spoke positively about my beauty. I love my Afro hair. My hair is easy to manage, and I love my dark skin. You need to tell you that. Afro hair is not hard to manage. Afro hair is beautiful. Your skin is beautiful. Your skin is desirable. Because I see a lot of dark skin people saying that this part doesn't want me because I'm dark skin. No, it's totally wrong. I'm dark skin and I always attract all type of boys. Okay, it's just you. So it's just you. You need someone to validate you. But if you don't see your beauty, how can you expect others to see it? And when people make racist joke and swear back. If a white person, for example, white person, but it can be Arabian, a person which is not Black, say black people are monkeys replies, yes, monkeys are famous for the intelligent. Unlike pigs, which are famous for being dirty, like you, white people. The more you clap back, the faster we will stop and respect to you. So, the sixth lesson, learn your history. To find out of that, it is learn your story. It's really important because for me, it was really the best of the best of your confidence. If you don't know where you're from, if you don't know who you are, you can have confidence and with self-esteem. No history, as I said, doesn't start with slavery. We had great kingdom, empire, civilization. If you don't know your history, you can be manipulated. For example, slavery in Africa didn't start with Europeans, but with Arabs. Even the term white people is misleading. It wasn't all white people. It was Western colonizer and their state, and the first slave were Eastern European. So slavery is much more complex than people think, and it wasn't always about skin color. The first slavery was social. More you are rich, more you are treated like a king. Less you are rich, you are treated like a slave. Okay. So the true East European came to Africa for its resources, but not only for that, for also other reasons. And before colonization, Greek intellectuals traveled to Africa to learn from us. That's why learning from us, it was at the University of Tombouctou. Tombouctou University is the first university in the world. It's located in Mali. You can do your research. That's why learning history is so important to avoid manipulation and to debunk the idea that slavery is the only history of black people. No, it's totally wrong. So that's the end of the video. Tell me which advice was your favorite. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and also read my story on Wattpad. You can support me there. With a vote. Have a good day, Queens, and don't forget you are beautiful. Your skin is beautiful, so don't let anybody say the opposite. You are beautiful. Period.